Welcome to Betson Live, where we interview employees here at Betson and ask them to share their experiences of working here. Today I have the privilege to sit next to our very own COO, Chief Operating Officer, Apostolos Dousias. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Alice.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did pronounce it correctly, and thank you for that, because normally, as we say in Greece, people kill my name. I understand it's not the best name for an international career. My parents didn't do very well there.
I practiced a few times, but let's just keep it to Apo.
Yeah,
right?
Let's keep it Apo. That's how everybody calls me.
Perfect. So today we're going to talk about the operations function. We're going to get to know you a little bit better. We're going to talk about strategy, how things have changed. But first of all, maybe you can give us an overview over the different functions within operations, because I know there's quite a few.
Yeah, that's great. So when it comes to ops, as we commonly refer to it in the industry and outside of the industry, each company has its own kind of terminology with what is incorporated in the operations department, in an operational unit. For Betson Group, ops is our customer service, our complaints team, our voice of the customer unit, and then we have our payments ops end-to-end, including risk and fraud functions, as well as the anti-money laundering function. Then we are taking the sportsbook trading under the ops umbrella. And of course, our customer protection team, which is our responsible gaming unit, safer gambling unit. So that is a total of 550 people, give or take. And we are predominantly in Malta, but we do have a couple of hubs, well, more than a couple of hubs across the world, to be fair.
So you have quite a big department under you. What is your main responsibility as COO?
Great. It's a good question, because I get the question quite a lot, as there is no archetype of what the COO should be. There are different schools of thought about what a COO does in its company. For Betson Group, I feel that the COO's responsibility is to be the red thread, kind of, between both the departments that I just mentioned before, that are under the ops unit, but also across the company. So connect the different departments, the different units, for the benefit of what the company wants to achieve. So in essence, it's a role that I would say you lead all the different teams in order to coordinate for the end result that we all want.
Yeah. So big responsibility then.
Yeah, I would say that one can say that it has quite a lot of moving parts. As we said earlier, it's a big department. It's a big unit, over 500 people, and our unit consists of departments that don't necessarily, on first sight, when you first read the titles of each department, they don't necessarily appear to be connected.
Right.
But that's the job of the COO, right? And that's why we have put these departments under the ops umbrella, because it is important that a customer service unit, a complaints function, a customer protection function, they are all talking between themselves. They are talking to each other. They are making sure that how we are following the customer from point 1 to point B to point C makes sense, both for the customer, both for the company, and in general, we are delivering an experience that we are happy about.
Yeah, good summary. And I know, Apo, you've had an amazing career journey here at Betson. You've been here for what, 11 years?
Yeah, who's counting, right?
Who's counting?
11 and 1,
Yes.
or 11 and 2.
Tell us about your career journey here at Betson so far. I think a lot of people would be interested to hear.
Yes, it has been an interesting career path, and it has been a journey that I have been very happy with. I came to Betson, as we said, a long time ago, a decade ago. I'm more years with Betson than I'm married. So it has been a journey where I started from the service team, where I came from another gambling company, and I started as a team manager in. Actually, I was since you are Swedish, I was managing the Swedish team for Betson.com. Okay. Swedish, Finnish, Danish. It was interesting, a Greek dude managing those teams, but it worked quite well. And till 2015, I was the director of operations. Since 2016, I was part of the operational management. And since 2017, I have been the COO of the company.
Wow.
So it has been good.
Is it quite common to have a career like yours where you can actually, grow like this?
I think that in our industry and in the fintech industry and the e-commerce industry, it gives you opportunities to follow a career path like that, an aggressive career path. We have quite a lot of individuals who have followed a similar career path across the industry and in our company. There are plenty of heads of and directors and managers who have started either as a payments analyst or a customer service agent or a CRM, which is our customer management, relations management coordinator, for example, and they became managing directors or they became country managers.
Yeah, so it's quite common to start within customer service and then you grow from there within the function or sideways to other departments as well.
I think customer service is one of these departments that I would advise whoever wants to have a change of career, because my previous career had nothing to do with gaming and gambling. I was not thinking that I will be in that industry. I had never thought about it, and that started 14 years ago, 2007, 2008. I think customer service is the type of department that as an entry level gives you access to understand the customer, gives you access to feel the customer needs and understand the product, the tools, and this kind of experience will guide you throughout your journey as an individual, as an employee of whichever company. And this is why in Betson Group, actually, now with COVID, we had to find alternative ways with the pandemic, we had to find alternative ways of doing it, but pre-pandemic, every individual in the company had to sit a few days with customer service, understand what the customers are asking, see how we are working. And the same thing we are doing with the rest of ops.
That's amazing, actually. And you've been in the industry for a long time, as we've just talked about. How has the iGaming industry evolved these past few years, and how has Betson adapted?
Yeah, I mean, the industry is still, I would say, close to its adulthood. We can decide whether it's over or under 18. We can debate, not decide. That is for the future to have an opinion on. But the industry has become much more focused into compliance. There has been a growth that has been continuous, but as the industry is being more and more locally regulated, there has been a different focus when it comes to product. There has been a different focus when it comes to what matters for an entry to market. And of course, the departments that needs to grow that balance has kind of shifted. 10 years ago, probably a product and tech and marketing department would have been the ones that you should have fully staffed or overstaffed. Now, anti-money laundering, responsible gaming, a compliance department is where you definitely need to have all your chickens in order, in a row, if that is the expression.
What has Betson, the operations function, implemented? How has the department adapted further to these changes?
Yes, I mean, it depends from where we will take. It's a lot of departments, as we said. So if we take, for example, our responsible gaming and safer gambling team, from a small team 10 years ago, now we are not only having a team of close to 15 people dedicated into the safety of every customer that is playing with the group. But also from a product tech data perspective, we have delivered and we have designed and put in production our own customer protection engine, which in essence runs our whole database of customers and detects whether a customer is at risk of gambling addiction, for example. And or take, for example, what is happening in the trading industry, in the sportsbook trading industry. Once upon a time, we would have one trader trading one event. Now, one trader has the ability to trade multiple events, for example. So quite a lot of efficiencies, quite a lot of product deliveries when it comes to being able to work in a compliant environment.
You mentioned a little bit about player protection before. What makes Betson's approach unique when it comes to taking care of all of our customers?
Yeah, I mean, unique, I am not 100% sure, but for sure we're differentiating versus quite a number of our competitors by ensuring that we're doing quite a few things. I can raise one of them. So
yes.
That's the affordability, I think. We do the affordability checks of our customers quite early. We do it on a blanket approach. We do it across licenses, across regulations. And I think this is ensuring that the customers are using their funds predominantly for entertainment. And if that changes and it's not for entertainment, then there are limitations and rules in place that will not allow someone to spend more than he or she should. So our affordability approach and what we consider that the customer can spend with us is pretty, I would say, aggressive and ensuring that the customer is protected. I think that is one of our highlights.
And that affects the business, right?
Well, you can say that it affects the business if you are just hearing it like that. For sure, it will have an impact on regulation. Has an impact on the revenues, but I think that when it comes to responsible gaming, safer gambling, anti-money laundering, you do not want funds that should not be with the group to be part of the group revenues. And I don't think that it is not a discussion with Betson Group. As I said, the fair play value is what is embedded in the DNA, which means that we are happy to not have those revenues at the end of the day. And the group publishes its quarterly reviews. It still makes quite good amounts in revenues and profitability. And at the end of the day, I think you had Ronnie a few months ago, our chief commercial officer. Ronnie simply needs to continue making the money and bringing the money with his very capable world. And our responsibility is to continue protecting the customer.
What is the main strategy for operations right now?
Yeah, maybe I should have said it at the beginning when you asked me what is ops and how we see ops, etc., etc. For me, if you take, I will have to use that example, so maybe we will, for the people who are listening to us, we will have to stay a couple of more minutes and go over the 10, 12 minutes that you told me that we should be discussing here. If you take if you take a company, in my mind, it's like a Formula One car. Okay. Since I like the Formula One quite a lot, even more than football nowadays. So you have the Formula One car, and the driver, I would say, is the teams that are bringing the money in, and that's the commercial team, the marketing team, etc., etc. Right. They need to drive the car, and the focus most of the time is on the driver. Right. And it should be, that's where it should be, and it should be on the car, etc., etc. And then you have the product functions, and you have the tech functions that are like the people who design the car and the mechanics, etc. Then there is that dedicated team that you see mainly just during the races, the F1 races. And they are all fully pimped with protective gear, etc., etc. And you only see them while they are clapping and the car goes around, or when they are needed to change the tires and they need to put the petrol, the gasoline, whatever it is being used, and they need to ensure that the tires are heated enough. Quite a lot of functions that I like Formula One don't even know about. And that is the complexity of ops, that from a trader sitting and trading a game and needing to manage how the odds should be, because the odds, of course, the trader's job would be super easy if he would place wrong odds on the side or favorable to the company. We would always be making money, but we wouldn't have customers, right? From the trader example to how a customer service agent needs to be able to have multiple chats at the same time, or multiple chats and phone calls, etc., etc. In all these situations, in all this complexity, the strategy that we need to adapt and need to take is efficiency, but quality at the same time. Because it's very easy to have a large organization that is being very, very efficient, but at the expense of quality. And that is one aspect that we need to balance. And then the other aspect when it comes to the strategy of ops, and it might sound a little bit as too fancy or too fluffy, is to continuously be the champion of the customer. And that, for each department, means different things. For the service department, an award-winning department which has won, I think, 7, 8 awards in a row.
Yeah.
It has won these 7, 8 awards in a row, not just because it has good customer satisfaction or because it has fast reply times or whatever. It's because as an ops, as part of the ops unit, they're very, very passionate about the customer experience. And they make sure that they raise the voice of the customer. They are champions of the customers at everything that they're doing. That when a customer is coming and there is a negative feeling, they feel the need to give that feedback, and there is to give that feedback further in the company in order to improve things for the benefit of the customer and ultimately for the benefit of the company. And it's these things that, when it comes, for example, as we touched quite a lot about the responsible gaming team, and I think it's pretty obvious how they are champions of the customer. But take, for example, the payments faction, the payments operations. Payments operations in Betson Group have a role to both protect the customer from aspects such as fraud, and they manage the risk of the company. But at the same time, they are responsible for ensuring that the money of the customer are going out in a really fast way when the customer requests a withdrawal. And when the customer wants to make a deposit, they are safely with us. So when that does not happen because of a banking issue, or if that happens because I don't know, there can be, in the e-commerce industry, there can be different things that can affect the customer journey. They are there to always raise this aspect, and they are there to speak, as I said earlier, with that red thread that I was mentioning. They are there responsible to raise that. So, efficiency, champions of the customer, ensuring that they are at all times carrying the voice across the company. And of course, as any COO will tell you, the departments need to be able to be drivers of change. And when I'm saying drivers of change, unfortunately, the operational units normally are the first, they're traditionally customer facing or customer touching. And they are able to hear in one way or another, or read in one way or another, experience what the pain points are. So it is very, very critical that all these teams are drivers of change towards the things that are not going well, and ensuring that that these things are highlighted so that we can change them. So change is important it's an important part of our core strategy.
So, Apo, what are some of the highlights that you want to mention from the operations team?
From an operations team, as I said earlier with the F1 car, the driver takes around the car. So we traditionally, our highlights in the ops unit will be similar to what the company is achieving. So we enter Colorado, right? That's a common effort for the whole group, and each department from tech to compliance to marketing, etc., but also from an ops perspective, we needed to be ready to serve a new country, a new jurisdiction in order to be able to have a customer service, payments, risk, fraud, all these departments, trading, customers will place bets. But if we are going to say, like, what has, if you would like to hear what has, one of the things that have stuck specifically for ops in the mind, pandemic has been a pretty tricky situation for all of us. And the fact that our ops units have managed to maintain the same customer experience across all departments, from how fast we process withdrawals, maintaining the same levels of security, quite aggressive KPIs on our service levels, etc., maintaining that in an efficient way while you are having a model where people are working remotely for large chunks of time. That is an achievement in itself, but that is not unique to Betson. It is a challenge though for all operational units across the world, I would say, especially on the e-commerce. But for us, it has been extra interesting given that we have acquired companies during the pandemic. And in 2020, one of our latest acquisitions, the acquisition of the B2C branch of Gig, what is now referred internally as Secure Gaming. It happened actually, we needed to take over the operational aspects of that business at the start of the pandemic,
Yeah.
with everybody working from home. That has been an achievement. From an integration perspective, Betson has proven again and again. We have acquired a lot of companies over the past decade. And one key success factor is how well you are able to integrate into your business another business, and that operations is a key part of that when it comes to company acquisitions. So that is a clear highlight. Then of course on more, let's say, operational specific success stories. Of course, we have delivered new AI that is taking quite a lot of our volumes when it comes to serving our customers in an automated fashion with high satisfaction. We have maintained our very high satisfaction towards our customers across all the touch points. And we have launched in almost all of our European markets a service guarantee where the withdrawal will be processed within minutes. So that again, to be doing that during a pandemic and ensuring that you have the structure in place, you have the process in place to deliver that is quite strong.
Quite impressive.
Quite a strong
When
achievement.
I'm sitting here speaking to you, I'm understanding, why we do win so many awards, right? So thank you so much for giving us that overview. We know a little bit about the strategy. We know what's changed, and we understand the function a little bit better. You've been in the industry for so long. You've been at Betson for so long. You've seen so much change. And for someone who's sitting at home wondering about what it's like to work in operations here in Malta, why Betson?
Yeah, I think that's not only about operations, it's why Betson in general, right? And as I say to my teams, and as I say to the induction, during the induction while we are onboarding the new employees with the group, Betson combines what I remember of my hometown, because I haven't now been for a while. It combines the mountain and the sea. Okay. So it is a corporate environment. It is a corporate environment that, for those who want to work in a corporate environment, will tick for sure the box, but it is also fun. And it's both, exactly. And that is a balance that the company has managed to strike. And I would say the last 5-6 years we're striking this quite well as a company, end to end. For sure, we can have and we have good times and celebrate. And that ticks also the box of those who want a more relaxed, more startup type of environment.
Yes.
And that you can see throughout the company. That of course is also in the DNA of Betson.
It's a good explanation you had there. It combines both worlds.
Yes, and since I can see that I have a couple of more minutes.
You have a few.
A few. That's the other thing, right? I can talk for a long time if you let me. But I understand we are live and we need to wrap this up. Yes. So the other aspect is, of course, starting your career in the gaming industry and with Betson. We have so many of our people, of the people who work with us, moving internally. That is another reason why, from a career perspective, it's a good company to be. I will tell you, just from a payments perspective and customer service perspective, 50% of our staff is moving internally when they are leaving those departments, so they are moving to other opportunities inside the company. That's a pretty strong achievement. It is.
Thank you so much, Apo, for joining. And as Apo said, 50% of our agents gets promoted within different areas within operations. So if you guys want to know more about our different roles, you can go onto our careers page or get in touch with one of our recruiters. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Bye.